So talking to Alex about this, we keep coming back to feeling confident and just starting the conversation. So we narrow it down to 2 points that we really want you to focus on. So the first one is preparation, and then the second one, intro statement. And that's it. There's nothing else to tabling besides practicing these. So you guys can totally handle it.
Exactly. So with that said, Walter, what would you say, why is it a bad idea to just wing it at a tabling session?
Good question. You could try to wing it, but I don't know about you. I'm pretty terrified talking to strangers, and the worst that could happen is forget what I'm about to say. So that's why I always prepare beforehand before tabling.
So what do you mean by prepare? What was it that you actually did before the event?
Yeah, so the tabling event that Alex and I went to was a vegan festival. To be completely honest, I didn't know what to prepare for. Unlike you guys, I wasn't lucky enough to attend the tabling workshop. But fortunately, I had been practicing my laser talk with my girlfriend, my poor girlfriend. I would use her as a guinea pig when I practiced my laser talk. And we would role play. She would play devil's advocate, and that way I kind of get an idea of what people may respond to my laser talk. And this really helps me knowing that what people may respond, kind of get me to relax, and just knowing that even if I get rejected, I just have to say thank you and move on. So nothing to be afraid of. But with that said, I don't want you to be memorizing all the laser talk and all the topics about climate change and CCL. What I did was just familiarize with myself and be as informed as possible and practice articulating my ideas. What about you, Alex?
I did pretty much the same sort of stuff. So I was reading a lot of articles, listening to podcasts in my free time. And my goal was just to be kind of inundated with a constant supply of information so that when I was in a conversation with someone, I would be able to just pull from any one of those topics. And if it was appropriate and if the person seemed interested, then I would kind of throw it in there and see if they would bite, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Absolutely. And I really like how you mentioned changing the topic based on the person. It is important to remember your laser point or laser talk, but you don't want to be preaching some robotic talking points. So make sure you ask questions and listen to what the person in front of you is most concerned about. That way you can very easily find common ground. And once you find that common ground, it's a lot easier to carry on a conversation.
What do you mean by common ground? Like, how would you?
Is there
an example you have?
I have an example. So again, back to the vegan example. I didn't know much about being vegan except they don't consume any animal products. However, I knew they must have a great love for animals in order to make this enormous sacrifice to change the lifestyle. Knowing this, I was able to connect with everyone based on the shared interest of preserving nature and animals. And so even if I wasn't familiar with the topic that was brought up, I was able to still carry on with the conversation.
Okay, nice. Yep. Thanks, Walter. I think that kind of wraps up our first little section on why it's important to prepare. So now we're going to move into intro statements. With that said, let's see. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. We'll just move on to this.
Okay.
Introduction statements. So this is the main area. I guess I give you this.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. This is a bit of back and forth. So preparing yourself, we can only tell you to do that so many times without being obnoxious. That's kind of on you. Okay, thanks. All right. But we want to, kind of like you were saying, that first introduction statement, we want you guys to leave here with a couple of those under wraps that you guys can memorize and then just pull out whenever you're either just like at a tabling session or talking with someone about climate change. So for example, at the Vegan Festival in Costa Mesa, there were a ton of booths and food vendors and just a lot of stuff going on, activists. And people walking around. So it's not like someone would see our table and come up to us and be like, oh my gosh, your logo is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Please tell me everything you guys are doing, right? Like that doesn't happen. So what we would literally do is, when we were volunteering, is stand in front of the table where the traffic was, so to speak, and say, hey, do you have a second to talk about climate change? Just a very non-threatening, simple kind of phrase like that. And from that basic phrase, you could kind of read if someone was interested in having a conversation with you, or if they were just, really focused on the vegan donuts across the way, which was fine because they're very delicious. So yeah, and if they seem interested, then you could go into a little paragraph about CCL and what our core beliefs were, the fact that we're a bunch of volunteers. That's a very disarming phrase to say because people know, oh, these people aren't here getting money or anything. It's just us having a conversation together. So yeah, and then just listen to what they had to say. And so that's the basic format, I would say. You have your preparation and intro statements, learning your audience, and then trying to find common ground there, and then pivot to CCL. So whether we're trying to sign a constituent letter or some other goal that we have at that tabling session, whether it's recruiting, getting people on the intro call, that's kind of, I suppose, the format that we would try to take. So right now, I think we're going to take about 3 to 5 minutes, and you guys can work on that little sheet we gave you and try to figure out some intro statements. So while doing that, try to do something that's your own tone and something you'd feel comfortable saying over and over and over again. So yeah, go ahead and go for it from there.
Down your interest statement, we're going to find some volunteers to come up here and help us practice so you can kind of see first person how it's done. All right. So you want to? No, you can. Do you want to introduce? And I'll
Okay,
change.
so we're going to introduce a couple of our volunteers that are going to help us out for this next session. So go ahead. Who are you? Why are you here?
Okay.
What do you like?
My name is Amir Baum. I'm from the Newport Beach chapter, CCL, and I'm from Aliso Viejo. I'm an environmental engineer, and I am all about advocacy, tabling. I'm the tabling and outreach leader, and yeah, and glad to be here to make an impact to take action on climate change.
Paulina?
I'm Paulina from the Inland Valley chapter, and I was actually volunteered. Yes.
You didn't know you were getting into this. It's okay. I don't think he did either, so yeah. So what we're going to do basically is Walter is going to pretend to be someone at an event that you guys are tabling at, and you guys are going to use your intro statement, which hopefully you have an idea of what to say. And from there, we're going to just practice learning about who Walter is, his character, and what he's interested in. And from there, try to pivot somehow to CCL to get him to sign an imaginary constituent letter. So, you guys think you're going to give it a go?
Sure.
Yeah? Okay, great.
So my Walter.
Check. No, Walter's
No, I thought we were Oh, there. Okay, sorry.
Hi, Walter. Are you concerned about the drought in California?
Oh yes, of course I am.
Where do you come from?
I'm from California.
Yeah, but what city?
Oh, Orange County.
Oh, and how are they feeling the effects of the drought there?
We don't really feel it too much there. Everything's pretty green, I would say.
Oh, really? So what, are you concerned about the environment at all, or?
Besides the wall, probably jobs.
Yeah, I'm worried too, and I'm worried that with climate change being more and more awful, more people are going to suffer and lose their jobs and their livelihood.
Right, definitely. So do you have any plans that?
We do! We're called Citizens Climate Lobby, and he's going to tell you all about it.
Hi, I'm Amir Baum. We're a Citizens Climate Lobby, and we're a nonpartisan group that's working to provide solutions to climate change. And we believe the best way to do that is by putting a price on carbon, and it would be a carbon fee and dividend policy and a revenue-neutral market-based approach. All that money would go back to American households, help build the economy, reduce air pollution, the big problem in here in California, and to add more jobs so we can move toward a more clean, sustainable energy economy and future. So we would really appreciate your support if you could sign this constituent letter to tell your member of Congress that taking action on climate change could never be more urgent, and we really appreciate your support.
Well, this all sounds great and all, but since I'm a Republican, I'm not for taxes. So maybe I'll just read it on your website and see what I think.
That sounds great. Here's a little brochure, and it has the webpage, and you can learn all about it. And yeah, feel free to contact us in your chapter.
All right, thank you so much. Volunteers. Woo! You guys did great.
And this is really critical. It's not a tax. It's a fee that the government collects from as fossil fuels are mined out of the earth, and that money is it's not a tax because it's redistributed to the citizens of the country to use to buy things that are.
Yeah, but that's very good. But we are just focusing on the practicing. So, but good point. And then.
Oh, I was just gonna say, we have like 3 minutes left. So do you guys have any questions or topics that you want to try and cover? So,
I just want to make a comment about tabling. We were tabling once in Pasadena, and our congresswoman walked by, and then the mayor of Pasadena showed up. So one of the benefits of tabling is you can have the opportunity to talk to people of influence who are there at the event, whatever it is, in a way which you might not otherwise be able to do. So that's another real benefit of tabling. Yeah, absolutely.
So I just wanted to sort of think about what's the objective? What are we trying to accomplish? I tend to think in terms of, one, if I can get somebody's name on a sign-up list, then we can get them involved. If I can get a brochure in their hands, then they can find out about the group and follow up. And that's kind of the two main things I'm trying to accomplish. Is that the right set?
That's exactly it. And I think too, something I also did was talking to people, and if they didn't have time or at that moment to talk about CCL or were interested, then what I would do is ask them to maybe sign up for our intro call on Wednesdays. And that was another really great way. And I think a lot of people were there, like took the information for that. So yeah, that's a great point.
So, your constituent letter, do you get that off of CCL Community or?
Yeah. So we have copies of constituent letter on the CCL website that you can, I think it's on the website, that you can download. And most of the time we have it at the table, so you want to make sure to have that data there, so if people want to sign up, then they can sign.
We have a bunch of postcards that basically say, I'm concerned about climate change because, and basically ask them to fill out, why are you worried, and what we're doing is what you will give them to our reps.
I just want to repeat what Sandy said. Two things that we've found effective in Pasadena Foothills. One is having these postcards here so that if you can engage somebody quickly, they're on the spot, they can sign their name on a postcard, write one sentence, only one sentence about why they're concerned about climate change. And that's ammunition when you go and talk with your member of Congress. And here's a stack of 100, 500, however many of these postcards you have. That's very effective. The other thing is to get people's attention. We've had some success with this. Do you want to do something about climate change because you might be at the wrong crowd for that, or you might not. But here's your dividend to go after the pocketbook. So we have these dividend checks that we wave around and have on the back of them the information. So that's a different way of getting people's attention.
And I think we have time for one more comment, right?
We're going to move on to our next speaker.